Welcome to Things You Don't Know. Starting a new little series here, little mini series, and it's called That Was Embarrassing. It's a new series about those moments when something goes wrong in public, and all you can do is hope nobody noticed.
And unfortunately, Dr. Weaver, somebody usually notices.
Yeah, unfortunately, and sometimes they even call the police.
But that is unusually specific.
It'll make sense shortly, ladies and gentlemen.
In each episode, the three of us will report a funny or embarrassing incident, something we experienced, witnessed, or heard about from someone who is probably still trying to forget it.
And these are not great disasters. Nobody loses a house, nobody destroys a career.
These are smaller disasters, the kind that last 30 seconds, but they stay in your memory for 30 years.
Yeah. Okay. Let's begin with a very familiar problem trying to talk to someone who is wearing earbuds. Okay. I was standing in a public place near a man who appeared to be talking to me. He looked in my direction and said, I don't think that's going to work. So naturally, I answered him. I said, well, you may be right, but I think it depends on how they handle it. How they handle it.
Well, so you mean you just pranced yourself and joined into a conversation without knowing what the subject was, huh?
Well, I believed I was being invited into it. The man paused, looked slightly puzzled, and then said, no, I already told you Thursday is impossible. I answered, well, yeah, Thursday is usually kind of difficult for me too.
Now, Dr. Weaver, at this point, did you have any idea what was supposed to happen on Thursday?
Oh, hell no, not at all. I thought we were having one of those friendly conversations between strangers where the details kind of slowly become clear. Then he said, that's not what I said. Are you even listening?
Oh, that must have seemed pretty aggressive there, Dr. Weaver.
Well, it did. And I said, yeah, yes, I'm listening. You haven't really explained what Thursday was has to do with anything. He stared at me. Then he turned his head slightly, and I noticed the tiny wireless earbud in his ear.
There it is.
He was not talking to me. He was talking to somebody on his phone.
Oh, and you had inserted yourself into a business discussion?
Possibly a business discussion, possibly a family dispute, possibly a medical appointment. I still don't have any clue. The worst part was that when he realized what had happened, he removed one earbud and said, were you talking to me?
I'm sorry, Dr. Weaver. I just have to ask, what did you say?
I said, apparently, I've been talking to you for like several minutes.
Oh, brother.
Oh, man. Well, maybe you could have said something else. That wasn't a denial, Dr. Weaver.
No, no, at that point, denial seemed kind of pointless to me. He gave me a polite smile, the kind people use when they're deciding whether someone is confused or just strange. Then he put the earbud back in and walked away.
I don't suppose you know whether the person on the phone heard your part of the conversation.
God, I hope not. Somewhere, somebody may still believe a mysterious stranger strongly objected to Thursday.
Now, Dr. Weaver, this is one of the risks of wireless earbuds. People appear to be speaking to the air, the furniture, the passing strangers, or possibly just themselves.
I guess the safest policy is to wait until someone uses your name.
Even then, make sure there isn't another Weaver standing behind you.
That that makes sense. Now my story involves a parking lot, two nearly identical cars, and a misunderstanding that escalated much faster than expected. A man left the store carrying several bags. He walked directly to what he believed was his car, pressed the unlock button on his key, and pulled the door handle. Nothing happened, so he pressed the button again. Still nothing.
Well, when that happened, Dr. Dineen, I have to say, that really should have been the first clue right there, brother.
You're right, Foster, it should have been. Instead, he assumed the key was malfunctioning. He pulled the handle several more times, pressed the button repeatedly, looked very frustrated, and then looked through the window. He could see items inside the car he didn't recognize: a jacket on a passenger seat, a cup in a console, some papers on a dashboard.
But, you know, you would think that would have been the second, third, and fourth clue.
I did. I guess he did briefly wonder why his car looked different inside, but rather than concluding, as most people would have, that it was not his car, he decided someone must have moved his belongings.
Well, who in the world did he think reorganized his car while he was shopping there, Dr. Dineen?
That question, Chandler, apparently did not occur to him. He became more determined. He pulled harder on the door, walked around the vehicle, looked through the rear window, and then tried the key again. What he did not know was that the actual owner was sitting nearby watching the entire thing.
Yeah, from the owner's perspective, someone was attempting to break into the car.
Exactly, Dr. Weaver, and the owner called the police. A few minutes later, an officer arrived and found a man standing beside the vehicle, still rapidly pressing buttons and pulling on the handle. The officer asked, "Is this your car?" The man very confidently said yes. Then the officer asked him to read the license plate.
Oh, yeah, and then I bet you that confidence disappeared rather quickly.
It sure did. The gentleman looked at the plate and said, "That isn't my number." The officer then asked, "Are you sure this is your car?" The man finally stepped back and looked around. His actual car was parked 2 spaces away. Same model, same general color, same basic shape.
And presumably responding to the key button every time he pressed it.
Yes, it was, Dr. Weaver. While he had been making a kook out of himself trying to unlock the wrong car, his own lights had been repeatedly flashing just 2 spaces away.
So basically, his car was repeatedly announcing, I'm over here, I'm over here.
Yep, and for some reason he ignored it. The owner came over, understandably very concerned, and the man began apologizing. He explained the cars looked alike and that he had made an honest mistake. The officer checked his identification, confirmed that the other car did belong to him, and decided, thankfully, no crime had occurred.
Yeah, that was a pretty fortunate ending, all things being considered.
Sure, he could have gotten into serious trouble. Yes, you're right. Although then the man was very embarrassed because he still had to walk past the owner, the police officer, and several curious shoppers to reach his actual car.
Oh, baby, I bet you that walk probably felt a lot longer than 2 parking spaces, Dr. Dineen.
Yes, he looked very embarrassed. He loaded his bags, got inside, and I noticed drove away very slowly.
Probably checking the license plate before leaving.
Just so. The lesson is very simple. Before trying to force your way into a car, check the plate, check the interior, and for heaven's sakes, look around for another nearly identical vehicle.
But the problem is, I don't remember my license plate number. Do you?
No, I don't. I guess I'd have to write it down or something.
Yeah, I would too, Dr. Weaver. That's a very good point. But also, if the police arrive, do not continue pulling the handle and be like, oh, everything okay, everything's all right. Now, my little crazy, weird story, it happened at a dog park. Now, a man brought his dog into the fenced in area and he began talking to another dog owner. They were discussing the usual things, that people discuss at dog parks, like breeds, ages, behavior, food, training, and even which dog is supposedly friendly, but has recently developed personal disagreements with every squirrel in the neighborhood.
Yeah, dog owners can have surprisingly detailed conversations with strangers at dog parks.
You are absolutely right. They sure can, Dr. Weaver. Well, these two men became absorbed in the conversation they were having. Meanwhile, several dogs were just running around them, playing, having a good time. One dog was chasing a ball, one was digging around near the fence, and two other dogs were engaged in a complicated game that appeared to have no rules whatsoever. And then a different dog wandered over and stood beside one of the men. The man, he didn't notice, though.
Oh, that's usually when trouble begins.
Well, trouble did begin, Dr. Dineen. The dog sniffed his shoe. Still, no reaction from the man. Then that wasn't good enough, so the dog moved closer to the man. He lifted one leg, and boy, he just started whizzing. He urinated right on that man's trouser leg.
Ugh. Oh
Oh,
no.
God. That's kind of
Oh, yeah.
difficult to overlook, huh?
Well, apparently not immediately. The man continued talking for another moment before he felt something warm running down his leg. He stopped in the middle of a sentence, looked down, and saw the dog finishing its handiwork.
Oh wow. I hesitate to ask Chandler, but what did this man do?
Well, he he shouted. He was like, "Hey!" And the dog just looked up at him with with no sign of regret at all. Like, "Yeah, I did that." And then he just trotted away.
As though nothing unusual had happened, huh?
That's exactly right, Dr. Weaver. And the other dog owner, well, he tried to apologize, but he was also trying not to laugh. And honestly, I was too, but I quit trying after a while. And that made the apology a lot less convincing. The man looked at his wet trouser leg and said, "Did that dog just do what I think it did?"
Well, Chandler, I don't think there are many other alternate explanations.
Well, to the dog owner's credit, he did hurry over with paper towels and a bottle of water. But unfortunately, pouring water onto the pouring water onto the trouser leg only made the wet area larger, sort of like adding fuel to the fire, huh, Dr. Weaver?
Oh, hell yeah. So the solution expanded the visible evidence, like made it so much worse.
Oh,
Considerably. The man's own dog came over and began sniffing the same exact leg with great interest, like, "Oh, somebody's been here."
I bet his dog was probably trying to identify the suspect.
I'm sure it was, or wondering why its owner had suddenly become part of the park. The man finally said, I think we're going to go home now." His dog, however, he didn't want to leave. So now he was standing in the middle of the park with a wet trouser leg holding a leash while his dog just refused to move.
At that point, dignity is no longer part of the situation.
Nope. He had to walk across the whole entire dog park while several people tried very hard not to look at his leg and very hard not to laugh.
And that means they were probably all laughing and all looking at his leg.
Of course. And the dog responsible was already on the other side of the park. La 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 la, happily chasing a tennis ball just like nothing ever happened. No guilt, no consequences, no concern whatsoever.
That is often how embarrassing incidents work. The person is traumatized while the animal responsible has completely forgotten the event. So, that brings us to the end of our first episode of That Was Embarrassing.
Nothing important was accomplished here.
That's right, and no major social problem was solved.
But we did establish that perfectly intelligent people can talk to someone who is not listening, try to enter a stranger's car, or fail to notice a dog peeing on them.
Usually because we're distracted, overconfident, or, and I've done this myself many times, simply not paying attention at exactly the wrong moment.
And when it happens to someone else, it's funny. And I also might add, when it happens to us, it's not that daggone funny at the time, but most of the time you can go back and look back and laugh at what happened.
Yeah, it when it happens to you, it becomes funny eventually.
Sometimes much later.
After the police leave.
Or after you change your trousers.
The truth is, folks, that everyone gets caught up in stupid situations from time to time.
You can be careful, responsible, and completely normal and still spend several minutes arguing with a stranger who has earbuds in.
These moments, well, no, they're not earth-shattering. They're just part of being human, you know?
And Dr. Weaver, I would say they usually make much better stories once some time goes by and the embarrassment wears off.
Oh, yeah, that's when I like to tell the story after the fact. So, join us next time for more awkward mistakes, public misunderstandings, and incidents people would probably prefer that we didn't discuss.
Okay. Until then, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time, hopefully soon. Bye bye.